Hello, I'm Dynast Amir.
Want your dreams to come true, you have to be hardworking. You have to work towards it. If you sleep and think that dream is going to come through, I don't think it's going to come.
It's not. So keep on the courage and be determined to get what you want, and trust me, you're going to have it at the end.
So this morning in Sunrise today, we have to be looking at different issues in the program. And first, we had that President's bill actually granted citizenship to 22 American Sierra Leoneans. And this morning we're with Dynast Amir, who's one of the 22 American Sierra Leoneans that was granted citizenship by the president. He's going to take us through how it feels like to be a citizen now of Sierra Leone. Good morning and welcome to the program, Dynast.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Okay, so also on the program today, we are also in the studio with Mahmoud Sharif, the president of Peace Society, Swabe College, University of Sierra Leone, and he'll be looking at the importance of peace and conflict cause in Sierra Leone. Good morning and welcome to Sunrise today.
Yes, good morning, Cecilia. It's
Okay.
a pleasure being here.
Okay, thank you. Let's start with you,
Yes.
Dynast.
Yes.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you as well. I'm happy to be in Sierra Leone, and I'm happy to be officially Sierra Leonean.
Oh, I can sense the happiness in your face.
Thank you.
The
Thank you.
smiles and all of that. You look good anyway.
Good.
You look good.
Thank you. You look good too.
Thank you. All right. So take us through that particular day. How did you feel being granted citizenship by the president of Sierra Leone?
You know what President Bio, what he was able to do for us is monumental because it's not offered anywhere else on the continent. So what President Bio was doing is he's setting a standard that other countries in Africa should follow. So us being African American or descendants of who were affected by the slave trade, you know, we were disconnected from the continent. You know, our identity, our language, our culture was taken from us. So many of us, like me, you know, started to travel back to Africa. I started to travel back in 2011. And, you know, you arrive, they find out you're a black American, and they tell you, welcome home, brother. Welcome home. This is the land of your ancestors. They take you to the slave dungeons where our ancestors were taken against their will involuntarily and shipped to the West to build the West. And they tell us, you know, brother, you know, you go to Goree Island, Bunce Island, Elmina Castle, Cape Coast Castle, you know, they tell you this is where your ancestors were taken from against their free will as slaves to build the West. But then you know, you say, okay, well, since my ancestors came from here, how do I get citizenship? And for the longest, that's where the disconnect has been. Because we know our ancestors were removed from Africa, shipped to the West. The descendants of those ancestors return, but then you inquire on citizenship, then here comes the Constitution and the red tape, and you have to have this formal process, you have to be here 15 years, 5 years, depending on the country. But we're like, we didn't choose to leave. So what President Bio has implemented is a process that if your DNA, if you go through African ancestry, and if your DNA results come back and it's from one of the tribes that reside here or is from here in Sierra Leone, you now can have citizenship as if your parents were born here. And no other African country has done that. Okay. So President Bio deserves a round of applause. What he's doing is monumental. He's setting a standard that needs to be followed because, you know, at times many black Americans get frustrated because, again, we're told we were taken from here, then we return, and then for us to be officially recognized, you know, it's always been this long, drawn out process, or here's the Constitution, here's this red tape, you have to follow these rules. So, I mean, it's a blessing. I'm thankful. I'm excited. And now it's more than just becoming Sierra Leonean and being granted a passport. You know, now it's time to contribute.
Okay.
Obviously, there are a lot of skills and knowledge that we have picked up in the West.
So definitely would come to what will happen to you now
Okay.
that you're a citizen of Sierra
Okay.
Leone. First, take us through your background. You were talking about if your parents are Sierra Leoneans, and of course your DNA matches any of the tribe in Sierra Leone. So what's your background from your family side?
So 2013, I did a DNA test through African ancestry.
Okay.
And I'm Balata, I'm Yoruba on one side, and on my mother's side, I'm Minde.
Okay.
So, you know, so I had that certificate since 2013. Even before 2013, an actor by the name of Isaiah Washington, he came, and they granted him citizenship based on his DNA results. But there wasn't a formal process for people who weren't actors or people who were, you know, celebrities. Because, you know, Isaiah Washington's a celebrity.
Okay.
So there were several people who were here in Sierra Leone that came from America. Shout out to Chief Fode, who sat down with Monuments and Relics and discussed how can we implement this process for, you know, regular Black Americans who aren't celebrities but can prove that they have DNA from Sierra Leone. So I want to say either March or April, well, yeah, or maybe even November of 2019, another group came, and they weren't expecting to get citizenship. It was a group of Mende descendants, and President Bill surprised them and gave them citizenship. So now there's a formal process that's being implemented that if you could prove that your DNA comes from Sierra Leone, you now contact Monuments and Relics, who's part of the government tourism. You contact them, then you know there's now a formal process for those who you know who just don't want, who not only want to become citizens, but it's bigger than that. You know, it's bigger than just getting that green passport. You know, it's time to contribute.
Okay.
You know, we brag about how we built the West, you know, through slave labor, but then many of us we have all these excuses why we can't come and build Africa.
Okay. Well, before going into
Okay,
that,
I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yes. So take us through the process of before you guys actually had that citizenship. How was the process like?
Okay, so you take your DNA test,
Okay.
contact Monuments and Relics.
Okay.
All right, they outline it. So you had to come to Sierra Leone. All right, they took groups to immigration. Like you bring all your paperwork. Like for me, I had to bring my DNA results, birth certificate, you know, passport. You know, if I had any other nationalities, and that was about it. Fill out the application, pay the fee. I think it's like 95 USD or 95,000.
Okay.
Well, 950,000 salons. And then you go to immigration, and it's like a regular process. You get fingerprinted, photo taken. Then you're actually sworn in by the president. So on January 5th, we went to the State House. We had a formal ceremony.
Okay.
The president spoke to us. We took our oath.
Okay. You know, I want to know what actually prompts you people to actually get your nationality,
Okay.
your passports.
Okay.
You know, what actually actually led to this citizenship thing? What
Oh.
actually prompts you people?
Okay, so as far as me, I can speak for myself.
Okay.
So 2011, I went to Tanzania.
Okay.
So I remember I landed at Julius Nyerere Airport. I come out to like the common area to pick up to catch my taxi. And then as I walked out the airport, I'm waiting. I have my bags. I'm waiting for my taxi. The local Tanzanians came up to me and they started speaking Swahili. And I just looked at them. I said, I don't know. So then they asked, "Are you South African?" I said, "No." They said, "Are you Ghanaian?" I said, "No." They said, "Are you Nigerian?" Which I am as well. At that time, I didn't know. I said, "No." They said, "Where are you from?" I said, "I'm from America." They said, "No. Where are you from?"
It has in your origin point.
Right, exactly. I said, "I don't know." We got disconnected from that. I don't know.
Okay.
So they said, "Okay, well, what tribe are you from?" And it's just what I'm noticing. A lot of people on the continent don't understand the impact that slave trade had. And so I said, "I don't know." So after not knowing, it prompted me to do a DNA test, like I researched, to find out where I actually come from. So that's what prompted me to do a DNA test, and I found out that on my mom's side I was Mende. And then as far as nationality, certain people wanted to leverage that to gain citizenship. Because again, as we come and visit, if we're told that we are from here, and that we were forcibly removed from here, and if we're descendants of those ancestors that came here, why is it such a hard process for us to get citizenship for those who are serious about becoming citizens of an African country? So then that's where the DNA came into play.
Okay, so let's hold it a bit.
Yeah.
So over to you, Mamadou.
Mahmoud, yeah.
Mahmoud, okay, sorry. So how did this association came about? You know, you guys forming this Peace and Conflict Association, you being the president, how did it come about?
You mean as an academic discipline?
Yes.
Or okay, the discipline itself, Peace and Conflict Studies, has a normative origin. It all began just after the First World War. There were a lot of attempts by international institutions and universities across the world to actually bring out, to understand the relevance of peace, and as well to do a research so as to as well bring out the possible causes of the First World War and possibly other wars that had occurred by then. In 1940, a professorship was established in the University of Wales to actually study the fundamental causes of violence and why. Because before then we had international relations scholars who were actually theorizing, given mere theories about human behaviors and interactions. So it became evident then that an academic discipline is actually needed to study the behavior of human beings and to actually give solutions to the violence that occurred then. So as a result of that, we had a lot of universities actually bringing out people like John Galton, Alice Bolden, Kenneth Bolden, actually started bringing out the ideas. He wrote a journal called the Journal for Peace, and the idea actually began. So when the United Nations was actually formed in the year 1945, they saw the need that there was actually no way to maintain international peace and security without actually creating an institution that could teach the values of those peace, security, and development. As a result of that, studies began around those areas. So in Sierra Leone specifically, after the Rebel War, as you were talking, the Rebel War actually was a tumultuous incident in Sierra Leone. It all began as a result of the fact that the government at then could not provide adequate security for communities, so people or rebel factions actually took advantage of that. They invaded. But the brutal rebel war, which actually led to the killings of so many people and a lot of destructions of properties after that war, there was a need to establish as well an academic discipline that could provide graduates to actually study and to build institutions, to work in those institutions for peace building, for peacemaking and peacekeeping. And we saw a lot of United Nations efforts in bringing out those institutions and actually supporting them as well. And in the year just after 2002, the Department of Peace and Conflict Studies was actually established in Frobe College, first as a unit under political science. Later it became a dependent department on its own.
So since 2002 up to date, what has been some of the success stories of the department in Frobe College?
They are immense. If we want to look at the success, we don't say the present stability and development we have today is as a result of the fact that we have such departments actually. Yeah, the department has produced graduate students that have actually worked thoroughly in this country, and yes, they are working. If you want to look at European Union, if you want to look at institutions like the American Embassy, we have Sishu Mohammed Sharif serving as the political specialist here. We have other institutions like the United Nations. We have a segment of it here. We have peace students working there. We have the National Commissions for Democracy. We have peace students working there. And recently, the president as well is about to actually institute a very, very important institution called the National Commission for Peace. Would actually need expertise, people who understand the true phenomena of peace and conflict studies, to actually be working in those institutions. And after the war, nearly 2 decades, Sierra Leone is actually now not a post-conflict country, even though we are actually being faced with some of the post-conflict adjectives, but yet still, peace building is going on. These are all activities undertaken by peace graduates.
Yes, Sierra Leone is considered to be one of the most peaceful countries across the globe.
Sure.
But then a lot of people do not see the impacts of peace and conflict caused in Frabo College. A lot of people do not recognize it. I mean, for a course that has been existing since 2002, we have courses that came like just 5 years ago. People prefer to go for other courses than peace and conflict. So what is the relevance of a student after WAS examination to go in for peace and conflict? Why you think is relevant for someone to study peace and conflict?
Yeah, that is quite funny though. You realize that there is stereotype against or around anything in the world.
Okay.
The Department of Peace, or the discipline of peace as an academic studies, is actually something very difficult. It has a very humble surface when you say peace and conflict studies, but much more complex meaning. So it actually takes people to understand what actually peace and conflict studies mean. You understand? We have multitude of those institutions established in the Western world, in the United States, in England, in Costa Rica. In fact, I think it's one of an academic arena that actually has been established by United Nations Resolution Council in 1980. You understand? So in Sierra Leone here, there is a need that we actually disabuse people, we educate them on the relevance of peace. That if Sierra Leone as a country should actually be developed, then an academic discipline like peace and conflict studies should actually be enhanced. The development of any country is actually predicated on the peacefulness of that country, is it not so?
Yeah.
So then if that is actually so, do we not need people that can actually study the true values, the true meaning of such an academic discipline in a bid to actually preach it to others, to teach others so that they can learn and ensure that we have a sort of peace building process in the country? Development can never actually be visible in Sierra Leone if we cannot have peace, if we cannot have people who do understand what peace is.
Okay, so one would want to say, why should I go study peace and conflicts when I'm actually in Sierra Leone, one of the peaceful countries? Yeah, and it's not even marketable. Some will say that in Sierra Leone here because they're saying Sierra Leone as one of the peaceful countries. So how far have you guys gone to change that narrative about people?
Yes,
especially students in universities.
That is actually more or less, I would say, it's actually been a political rhetoric. Many people have said so. The current president we have in Sierra Leone is a peace student. He pursued his PhD in peace and conflict studies. The chief minister we have in Sierra Leone is as well a peace student. He lectured at Bradford University. Those are indications that the marketability is actually out there. But however educated you are, you have to market yourself to the world. Now here the thing is very, very much clear. Students should come to learn, to actually read and understand what peace is about. And let me tell you this is not a time of conflict. So like the insinuation normally we are not in a conflict situation, so why study peace? Yeah, that is actually the thing. So let's say now you are in a peaceful situation. Do you not actually have to study the peace you are in so that you're actually able to make provision for its continuity? Definitely there is a need for you to try to understand that you're living first in a peaceful situation, and for you to understand the relevance of the peace you're living in. Because if you don't understand the relevance of the peace you're living in, as you said, Sierra Leone is a peaceful country relatively, then what is going to be the outcome of it? So there is a need to understand the true relevance of the peace first you're living in.
All right, let's hold it there. Over to you, Dynast. Now that you're in Sierra Leone,
Yes.
what will become of you now that you're in Sierra Leone? What do you plan to bring to Sierra Leone as a citizen now?
I want to contribute. I want to be a resource. You know, it's not just about, you know, becoming a citizen is just the start. You know, now it's time to contribute and help build and make make an impact on Sierra Leone. So that's my goal. Those are my objectives. So we're going to be focusing on tourism and estates as far as real estate. Sierra Leone is a beautiful country. Oh man, it's the most beautiful country I ever laid eyes on, ever stepped foot on. I've been to roughly 17 African countries, and my first time coming to Sierra Leone was December 2019. And I asked myself, why did I wait so long to come here? This place is beautiful. So right now it's about bringing awareness to Sierra Leone, bringing opportunities to Sierra Leone, and just creating and being, you know, an impact on the people, a resource. So that's what my objective is. I'm hoping others who receive their citizenship that's what they're wanting to accomplish as well. Because again, it's not just about just getting your passports, or some people, I talk to some people. It's like they just want passport on arrival. They want the passports, then they want to go back to America and just brag how they have this Sierra Leone passport. It's like, no, bring your skills here to Africa and play a role in the development of the continent. Play a role in the development of Sierra Leone.
Apart from America, do you have citizenship in any other country? I see you have a bit there, and that's so common with Nigerian.
Right.
The royalty. Are you related to any Nigerian?
I'm Nigerian too.
Okay,
so I'm
you
Black
have
American, Nigerian, and Sierra Leone.
So you have dual citizenship.
With a triple.
Oh wow. Okay, so don't you think you're going to have any conflict of interest when it comes to situations where it's involved Nigerians, it's involved Sierra Leoneans, and it's involved Americans as well?
Absolutely not. I mean, I was talking to my African immigrant friend. So you have an African, Sierra Leone. He's from Cote d'Ivoire. He goes to France. His former colonial master. He gets his citizenship. He takes an oath to his former colonial master. He's then celebrated. Yes, I have this French passport. I have this French citizenship of his former colonial master. Sierra Leonean, Nigerian, Ghanaian. They go to the UK. They do the same thing.
Okay.
They complain about how these countries are in their affairs, how they're disturbing their countries. But no one ever questions if that's a conflict of interest.
Okay. Before going to the text messages that we have here for you all, take us through what are some of the things that we should be expecting from you personally?
Me personally, focus on tourism, awareness to, bringing awareness to Sierra Leone, bringing people to Sierra Leone, and another focus on media. I want to get involved in media as well, as far as spotlighting Sierra Leone.
Okay.
And then estates. We're going to be focusing on development, construction in the state as well, because that's what I do in America too.
Okay. So over to you, Mahmoud.
Yeah.
What you really want to say as a final word within a few seconds to peace and conflict people there and students who are actually starting to the worst exams coming, encouraging them about peace and conflict studies?
Yes, I want to say the academic discipline of peace and conflict studies is not all about understanding violence and peace. It as well goes beyond that. We have areas like international humanitarian law, areas like security studies, areas like public sector reform, natural resource governance, and many more that we actually do to ensure that we broaden the horizon, or the mind of the students is actually open to understand the multitude of issues happening around the world, contemporary issues in the world. Okay, so we want to encourage them to come learn, and as well to be able to be developmental to the nation as a whole, and to help in maintaining international peace, security, and development.
Okay, so a lot of times students only go in for peace and conflict probably when they do not attain the requirements to go study law, mass communication, or other courses. That's the time they think about peace and conflicts, and then you accept those students. Don't you think it is because people see peace and conflict as second option in most cases? That's why people look down on the cause, because we don't see much of people actually applying for peace and conflict directly from us.
That is not true. I don't know if you've been to the department to actually observe and be able to come up with that particular opinion.
No, but
I applied, I applied for peace and conflict studies when I sat towards, you understand, and a lot of my colleagues, the thing here is there is a stereotype around the name, because people don't actually understand it.
Yes,
even educated individuals have made similar mistakes.
I think that is where awareness counts a lot.
Very well.
Creating awareness for people who are actually going into universities every year.
Yes.
Because trust me, we're looking at the majority here.
Yeah.
Majority of the people who are going, they're going for those core courses that they think are core.
Yeah.
You understand, like as in law, journalism, and all other related related causes, sorry.
Yeah.
You know, so that is where awareness counts. How far have you guys gone in creating that awareness for them?
Well, that is something we've just begun, okay? And we are going to make sure that it continues. Over the years, we have actually not been much more engaged into creating this conscientizing people into creating this awareness. But we believe it's actually necessary. The university over the time believe that people should actually try to learn about the deeper. And peace and conflict studies is a core course. If you go to the Western world, it's actually making a very big name on the Capitol Hill. You understand? It's not anything you can say it is below or whatever. It is actually making name, and it actually forms one of the major. When you say the social sciences, it forms one of the major principles. It's just like your desire to learn. People want to become lawyers. People want to become journalists. People want to become engineers. You understand? And as well, people want to become peace practitioners. You understand? Okay. So then there is a need for everybody to actually understand, and I think the responsibility is on us to educate people about what peace is. That it's not only about conflict or peace, it's about development as well. Okay. It's about gender as well. It's about immigration as well. It's about security as well.
Okay. I
think quickly, let's take some sets of messages before you leave. Yeah. This one is saying, Mr. Dine, we love you and we're glad to have you home back. It's coming from Alusine King in Freetown.
Okay, here I have one which says, how can you relate your stay in the US over the years? Daniel Sani from Calverton.
Another one is saying, now you're here, what are your plans for our motherland? Asiatu Jalo.
Okay, another one here is saying, peace and conflict students should be given the opportunity to explore in the country, showcase the importance of the cause.
Okay, another one is saying, Dynast, how did you find your way home? It's coming from Mohammed Kamara.
Okay, this one is saying here, what happened here with the Peace and Conflict Association, even though we're having riots every day in college? Okay, that one is coming from Abubakar in
another one is saying, so you are now a citizen of Sierra Leone. What are your plans ahead for Sierra Leone? Moses Kai Moe. Okay, I think that's the final sets of messages. So quickly, before we take a break, let's hear from you, Dynast. Respond to these messages quickly.
No, I think the plan for Sierra Leone is to bring resources and opportunities, create opportunities for the people of Sierra Leone. That's the plan.
All right. Okay. So what about you? Respond to these messages.
Okay, I think somebody said we should be given the opportunity to explore. I think that is a laudable one. There is a need to actually give the space or arena to students of peace so that they can explore, and I think it is happening. It's actually dependent on the graduate yourself, how best you can market yourself to the world. And somebody spoke of violence at Probe College. So when we see people actually saying that the study of peace and conflict studies is not important, we look at those human behaviors and actually relate to it that are they actually thinking? You understand? Because if you can think beyond the thought process, you could realize that those human activities, we actually need people who do understand via very.
Danfo offers unparalleled, curated and bespoke tours across Africa for travelers seeking genuine cultural experiences, enriched with magnificent sights, sounds and flavors found on the continent. Each trip is reliably curated to ensure visitors are gifted with an immersive and authentic adventure. Whether you find yourself strolling along the charming white sand beaches of Sierra Leone, feasting on the mouth-watering delicious foods in Senegal, observing or partaking in various aspects of the Isheshi traditional system Ifa native to Yoruba land, Nigeria, with Danfo, you will rediscover a fulfilling sense of kinship to the true heart of the motherland, her communities. Our core values focus on integrity, quality, safety, and sustainability. We are uniquely committed to assisting with the advancement of African infrastructure and promoting African businesses. so both travelers and the communities they visit receive beneficial exchanges. At Danful, we understand the importance of connectivity, and we have created a model which provides bespoke experiences based on your passions or hobbies. With us, expect a long-lasting spiritual bond between you and your destinations. Live, love, Danful, Africa. To learn more, visit danful.africa.